Today, we're going to look at something that just seems impossible. A liquid that thinks it's a solid. A fluid that you can sculpt with invisible forces that defies gravity to form these incredible spiky shapes. We are talking about ferrofluids.
So let me just ask you this. What if you could take a puddle of what looks like black oil and just by waving a magnet near it, make it come alive? Now, this isn't some movie special effect. It's real-world physics, and we're going to break down exactly how it works. So let's just jump right into the most stunning thing about this stuff. What happens when it gets anywhere near a magnet? To the naked eye, a ferrofluid just kind of looks like a dark, thick liquid. But bring a magnet close, and everything changes. The surface just shatters its own smoothness and erupts into this incredible, perfectly ordered forest of spikes. It's almost like a living sculpture. This wild effect is called the Rosenzweig instability, and we'll get into why that happens in just a bit.
And you know, this all started in a really surprising place. This isn't some brand new futuristic discovery. It actually came out of NASA back in the 1960s. See, astronauts had a problem. How do you pump rocket fuel in zero gravity, where liquids don't really behave? Well, their solution was brilliant. Make the fuel magnetic. And by doing that, they created what we now call a smart material, something that flows like a liquid but has the magnetic powers of a solid.
So how on earth do you make a liquid magnetic? It's not as simple as, grinding up a magnet and mixing it with oil. It's actually a really delicate three-part recipe that happens on the nanoscale.
To get a stable ferrofluid, you need these three things working together in perfect harmony. You've got your magnetic nanoparticles, a special coating called a surfactant, and the carrier liquid they all float around in. Let's break each of those down. Okay, first, the ferro part of the ferrofluid. These are teeny tiny particles of a mineral, like magnetite. But here's the really crucial detail. Unlike the magnet on your fridge, they aren't permanently magnetic. They only get magnetic when another magnet is nearby. It's a property called superparamagnetism. The moment you take the big magnet away, poof, the particles lose their magnetism and the whole thing goes right back to being a normal liquid.
And when we say tiny, we mean it. These particles are about 10 nanometers in diameter. For perspective, a single human hair is about 80,000 nanometers thick. So yeah, these are unimaginably small. And this incredibly tiny scale is the absolute key to everything that comes next.
Now, if you just had those nanoparticles floating around, they'd immediately stick together and turn your cool liquid into a useless magnetic sludge. The real secret ingredient is the surfactant. Think of it like a little jacket that coats every single nanoparticle, acting like a tiny bumper. This creates a barrier, pushing other particles away and keeping them all perfectly suspended. It's what lets the fluid actually stay, well, fluid. Okay, so now we know what it's made of, but why the spikes? Why that shape? The answer lies in a fascinating invisible battle between three different forces. The secret to those incredible spikes isn't just one thing happening. It's the result of a constant, invisible tug of war. So you've got three forces in a constant fight. First, there's the magnetic force. It's pulling the fluid up, trying to follow the invisible magnetic field lines. But fighting against it is surface tension. That's the force that wants to keep a liquid surface as small and smooth as possible, like the skin on a drop of water. And finally, you have good old gravity, pulling everything down, trying to keep it flat. When the magnet is strong enough to overpower both surface tension and gravity, that's when you get those perfect hexagonal spikes. Each spike is like a beautiful sweet spot where all three forces have found a temporary truce. Now, while the spikes are amazing to look at, the most important work that ferrofluids do is completely hidden from view. Inside technology you probably use every single day. Okay, think about high-tech manufacturing, like making computer chips. You need perfect seals. A traditional rubber seal creates friction, it wears down, and it can leak, which is a total disaster in a clean room. But a ferrofluidic seal? It's a whole different game. It's a ring of this liquid held perfectly in place by magnets, creating an airtight seal with zero friction and basically no wear and tear. That is revolutionary because it lets machines run faster, longer, and with more precision than ever before. So where are these things? Well, they're in the super clean vacuum chambers for making semiconductors, but also, and this is the amazing part, inside pretty much every computer hard drive you've ever owned. That tiny little drop of ferrofluid forms a perfect seal around the spinning motor, keeping microscopic dust particles out. A single speck of dust could completely destroy the drive head, so this little liquid magnet is silently protecting your data from a total disaster. And hey, if you're an audiophile, you might just have ferrofluid in your living room. In high-end speakers, the voice coil that creates the sound gets incredibly hot. A small amount of ferrofluid in the gap pulls all that heat away, stopping it from melting. But it also acts like a tiny shock absorber, dampening any unwanted vibrations. This means the sound you hear is way cleaner, more precise, and a whole lot closer to what the artist actually recorded.
So it protects our data and improves our music. But the applications are getting even more radical, stretching into medicine, art, and the future of robotics.
Okay, this is where it starts to sound like straight-up science fiction. Scientists are developing ways to attach chemotherapy drugs to these nanoparticles. Once they're injected, doctors can use magnets on the outside of the body to guide the medicine directly to a tumor site. This could revolutionize cancer treatment, hitting the bad cells hard while sparing the healthy ones. And then there's something called magnetic hyperthermia, where they use a magnetic field to make the nanoparticles inside a tumor heat up, essentially cooking the cancer from the inside out. No major surgery needed.
But it's not all lab coats and hospitals. Ferrofluid has become a medium for artists and designers, too. There are these incredible interactive sculptures where the fluid dances and morphs in time with music, all controlled by computer-programmed electromagnets. And there are these mesmerizing clocks that use hidden magnets to pull the fluid into the shape of the numbers. It's a constantly changing display of liquid time.
And the innovation is not stopping. Researchers are looking into ferrofluids for soft robotics, creating flexible, liquid muscles that can be precisely controlled by magnets to gently grip delicate objects. They're even being studied as a way to precisely move tiny satellites in space, giving them a new level of fine-tuned control with no moving parts.
From a clever solution for NASA to protecting our data, treating cancer, and even creating art, Ferrofluid just shows us how playing with matter at the tiniest scales can create things that look and feel like magic. It really makes you wonder, right? What other impossible materials are already out there, just waiting for us to see them in a whole new light?